Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Jexie Burke, and I'm the mother to 5 young children. I'm a huge advocate for taking care of your body with proper nutrition, physical exercise, and enough sleep. I'm an ACE certified personal trainer now and currently pursuing a degree in applied health. If you aren't getting enough sleep, I'm sure telling you need more is not enough. I'm here today to talk about why sleep is important, how much you need, and about how you can get more of it. I can tell you that I know what it's like to crave sleep above all else. I remember being so tired after my fourth baby. I got up one night, went to fill his bottle, and put a balloon in the microwave instead. I didn't even realize what I was doing until the balloon exploded, waking me up. I hadn't even been fully awake. You see, the places we lived were not around family, and my husband was constantly getting called out for work, so I depended on myself to get the sleep I needed. I didn't realize how much lack of sleep was influencing my every waking moment. I've learned many helpful things since then. The first thing I want to address is why sleep is important. I mean, besides not feeling tired, right? To cut to the chase, you should be getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep on average. Lack of sleep is linked strongly to depression, being overweight, which is a major factor in increasing your chances of many diseases as well. Getting poor sleep affects your mood and decision-making skills, which means you're more likely to succeed at work and with relationships if you get adequate sleep. It is so true that sleep affects everything, especially our desire to exercise. As parents, we often ask ourselves, am I supposed to trade sleep for physical exercise? Whenever I would Google the phrase, is sleep or exercise more important? I would always get the ridiculous answer that I should be doing both. As a mother and now a personal trainer, I have an inside scoop for you. You do not have to exercise every day to be healthier. To be considered physically active as a new personal training client, you would need to be exercising at moderate intensity 3 times a week for 20 minutes. That's it. So if you run into that dilemma, you can choose to sleep instead of getting up earlier most days of the week. Being physically active those 3 times per week will give you more energy and better sleep when you are able to get it. Another thing to think about is getting together with a friend who also has kids to set up a childcare swapping in order to get naps. You could also think about hiring a trusted teenager to come to your house and watch your kids while you sleep. If not so you can sleep, maybe they can sweep, mop, do dishes. I remember being ecstatic to be hired as a young teen to clean or babysit because no real jobs would hire me until I was 16. The next thing I want to pound in is the importance of routine. Boring, we hear this all the time, but don't tune out now. Have you ever lain awake in bed wondering why you can't sleep when all day long you struggle to stay alert? Our bodies need to go to bed around familiar times every day in order to fall asleep faster. On the flip side of this, if we want our children to go to bed at specific times, we must get them up at a certain time in the day. This is one of the hardest parts to implement at first, because if they are sleeping, we want to sleep too. There needs to be a routine where you get up at a certain time so you can go to bed at a certain time. You also need to set a time that naps cannot go past. For me, that cutoff time to wake my napper is usually 2:30 p.m. or sooner. The last thing I want to discuss is planning in a quiet time. For me, this is when my youngest is napping after lunch. My kids tend to argue more as the day goes on, so it's nice to do a break and have everyone in their dedicated alone spot, whether it's in their room, the hall, the living room, etc., but they are allowed to look at books and play with quiet toys for 20 minutes of time. If they do well, they can have a popsicle or other treat after. If they come out or decide to be non-quiet, they do not get the treat. This gives me something to look forward to as my time. The time of the day to lay down for 20 minutes and shut my eyes. If I fall asleep, great. It's easy to stress myself out thinking, I've only got 20 minutes. Fall asleep, fall asleep, fall asleep. Don't put pressure on yourself to fall asleep, and chances are good that you will anyway. It's just nice to lay there without any expectations of yourself for a little bit. I know you may have babies and toddlers who don't let you do an exact version of this, but the concept remains the same. Do what you can to take a rest time for yourself. I urge you to start one of these steps today. Make sleep work for you instead of against you. You've got to make sure your kids get out of bed in the morning at a certain time if you want them to go to bed at a healthy time for both of you. Set limits on how long you're willing to stay up after they are in bed. It is so tempting to stay up longer and longer because it's so nice to have that quiet personal time. Implement quiet time in the day if you can. It will be difficult at first, but gets easier as it becomes usual for your children. Thank you so much for listening today. If you want to visit me at my blog for more parenting related advice, go to lifewithcuties.com. This podcast is sponsored by WIC, and their Facebook page, Sleepy Pocatello Parents, is where there's a community of support from WIC and other parents trying to make it work just like you. Check it out, and maybe you'll find someone to swap with for a nap or two. Wishing you success on your quest for a more happy, rested life. It has been an honor to be here today.